Booting up. What every skater needs to know about their boot support. Hi, I'm Patti Larkin from Skate Talk by Patti in US Figure Skating Magazine. And in this video, we're going to talk about what boot support is and what it isn't. Now, as figure skaters, we all know we need boot support, but what really does that mean? And how does it really work? Well, in order to understand how the boot support works, we have to have a better understanding of how the foot and ankle work. So let's take a look at the upper ankle joint or our ankle joint. Now the muscles in the front and the back of the leg here in the ankle help flex and point the foot. And this is a very important motion of the body because it helps us balance, walk, and run. And in figure skating, it helps us generate the energy needed to create speed, power, and propulsion. But there's another important function of the foot and the ankle, and that is going to help us absorb shock. So the more motion we have and the stronger the ankle muscles are, the better the body is on absorbing and handling shock forces. And this is important in sports, but especially figure skating, where the sport is a very high impact. We need our bodies to be able to handle shock forces. And this is going to be a very important point in a little bit when we talk about the boot cuff, the ankle cuff of the boot. But before we do, let's talk about another very important joint of the body. And this is called the subtalar joint. Now the subtalar joint is positioned right above the heel. This is your heel bone. And then this is a bone called the talus bone. And the joint between the two is the subtalar joint. And the muscles that are on the inside and the outside of the leg help control this motion. Now this is the body steering wheel, so it helps us become more agile, adapt to uneven surfaces like hills and gravel. And it also helps us absorb shock. But in figure skating, where we are raised off the ice by the platform of the blade and narrowed by the thinness of the blade, along with the slippery ice surface, where our foot isn't on the ground, it is elevated. So we become very unstable. Now, this is where boot support comes in. Even though the boot cuff, this is the ankle cuff, crosses over both ankle joints, it is the subtalar joint is going to control. So boot support helps restabilize our joint because this is the joint that helps us attain edge control. So it is the skater's edge control, but we don't need as much motion as we do on the ground because of the raised height of the blade and the narrow balance point that we stand on. So as we activate the muscles on the inside and the outside of the leg, the boot creates stability and it helps us stay aligned while we move through this motion. Now, there's another very important function of the boot. Our muscles and our joints and our skin all have sensory nerve endings, and these nerve endings will relay sensory signals back to our brain to alert our body where we are in relation to space. So it creates a sense of what we call proprioception. Now, our foot isn't on the ground, it's in the boot, up elevated off the ice. So now the boot, it becomes our sensory partner. And how we move through the muscles and how the boot is tight will help send sensory signaling systems back to the brain. And as the muscles activate and create these patterns, we develop muscle memory. That's why every time we step on the ice, we don't have to relearn to skate. We recall this muscle memory and we build our skills from that. Now, the boot support, how you lace your skates is going to determine how well you're going to partner with your equipment. So when you tie your skates, you want to be able to tie them really snug around the lower ankle to create this stability. And you don't want to create too tight around the top. Now here's the difference where a lot of people think that the boot support is supposed to hold you up and they make it nice and tight. Well, the boot isn't supposed to hold you up. That's what your muscles are supposed to do. The boot is acting as a stabilizer to prevent you from being too wobbly. So if this was just a shoe, we would be really wobbly or unstable. So how you lace your skates and how you develop those skating skills and train your brain is your foundation to everything you build on top of it, including jumps and spins. So there's a few things you'll need to know when you put your skates on. So when you lace your skates, you're going to make them snug, and then make sure that you leave enough room. Remember our main ankle joint. We need as much motion not only to perform, but to allow the body to handle the shock load. So you don't want to make this too tight. If you're struggling with that, what you want to do is you check the fit, because skates that are too big or just broken down are not going to provide you the stability or the support you need. So you'll have no choice but to make it tight at the top. That's not training those muscles very well, and you're going to become dependent on the support of the boot. And as you start getting more advanced, and you start, maybe if you're growing, getting heavier, you're going to want to keep getting a stiffer and stiffer boot. Now, the other thing you can do is practice your skating skills. Make sure your skates are laced so you have enough room in the front. So you want about 2 fingers down to the level of the second hook, and you want to make sure you're able to bend. Now, go out on the ice with your skates laced properly and start paying attention to the muscles that are getting activated. You're creating a sensory awareness, and you're really feeling the command of the ice. And you're telling your boots, as they work as a partner with you, how to control this motion. And the last suggestion for every skater, whether you're a beginner or advanced, is to work on your ankle strength and flexibility. Incorporate strengthening and flexibility and ankle support or ankle strength into your off-ice routine. Will help strengthen your ankles, and you will not rely on the boot to do the job your body is going to need to do. And that will help you become stronger and able to handle the shock forces. I hope you've liked this video, and in the next article and video, we're going to talk about 5 steps you need to do before you step onto the ice. Thank you very much.